Hi, I'm going to be planting some microgreens today. This is the little set that I got from Homebase. Normal prices, I think it's $4.99, but I got like 2 trays for 75p, and along with the trays you get various other bits, which I'll show you now. So this is the tray placed at the bottom. There's no holes in this one at all, as you can see. And then what goes into that, if you want, is you've got this little tray here, so it allows some drainage through these holes here. And if you wanted, you could lay some growing medium onto this, some like sterile cloth or some tissues, and you can grow things like, well, anything really you want to grow in it, because all you're looking for is the sprout and the first set of leaves to come up, and then that's when you harvest it with the microgreens and the very nutrient dense foods. Or you can add this on afterwards and fill them up with soil or some other medium, compost or some other medium, as long as it's sterile medium for your seeds to make sure they germinate, or better rate of germination. And then the last thing that you got is this here, which is just a lid for the propagator lid to keep it nice and warm and stop evaporation as well. What you can also do is use the bottom tray for the grow medium, and use this here to keep the seeds in slight darkness, well, very dark I suppose. We've got a few holes there to let some light in. But we're looking at, well, we're coming up to mid-September now, so it's going to be quite dark anyway. Where I'm going to be putting them, it's in the kitchen, and it's north-facing house, and they don't really get much light until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's gone the light by about 4, so I don't think light's going to be an issue for the seedlings to germinate. And I'm going to be using soil as a medium anyway, so they're going to be left in slight darkness. But I'm going to leave this tray in here, and what I'm going to do is water on the edges, and let the water soak up to the roots and to the compost using capillary action, and that'll keep the moisture of the compost correct, and I should get some nice germination. And I'm going to be growing, well, putting the compost into these individual trays that'll soak up the moisture, filling the trays just below the top there of the rim, so just here. And basically with that I can get some scissors or kitchen scissors and just cut across and harvest my microgreens. And there's just enough little gap here for me to fill up the reservoir underneath, so the water can come up. Alright. Other things you can use for growing microgreens, well, I've got some containers here which were holding some mushrooms. If you want the propagator lid, you could use something like this, and this is when you buy a roasted chicken, you get one of these sometimes for the covering and maintain the heat. You got some little indentations at the bottom to hold a little bit of excess water, and you also got this tight lid as well with slight little air vents you can depress in there just to let a little bit of air in if you wanted. Other things as well which I'm going to be trying are these little cups. So what I'll get through a lot of these coffee lattes here and down here. So what we're going to be doing with them is put a little bit of compost in that, and they come with their own little propagator lids, or sippy lids, but there you go. I'll take the like the side bit off it. They're coloured white as well, so you're not going to get as much algae as if they were like a clear, or mould if they were clear. So that'd be really good. What else have I got for the? Well, that's all the containers, and you see the previous container as well. The other things I've got is some water that's been, I left these open, just closed them up now, but I left this water open overnight to let any chlorine out. Really tap water's fine anyway, so I don't know why I did that, but just used to it, and it's how I did it last year and it worked fine. The other thing I've got is some sand as well. So what I'm going to do, because it's coming up to mid-September, I'm going to be on the windowsill here in the kitchen, and if you mix the compost with a bit of sand, this is children's play sand. You can pick these up where they've got broken bags from Homebase or B&Q for about 50p or a pound for 10 to 20 kilos of it. I think I got a 10 kilo bag for £1, which is alright. £1 that is. Mix that in with the compost, and what you're doing is you're increasing the airflow within the compost, and you're less chance of getting any mould on it. I also use the sand, say like if I've got this chilli plant here, I just put the sand at the base of it, and mould will not grow on that on the sand, because it's just not organic material, so it just won't take a hold of it. Obviously when you get more and more bits of soil on top, it could get mould on there, but I just add a bit more sand on it, and it increases the airflow to the plant, and it also stops any mould or fungal growth on it, which is really, really good. And the other thing I just potted up as well is I got all these plants here. I just ate most of them because I had loads of lettuce and all that lot, and it's like a herb and salad garden set from Homebase. Sorry, not Homebase, B&Q. We're getting rid of them yesterday because we're just, end of the season. We got mince that will come back next year, lettuce that I'll probably get another harvest from, and what was that? Some parsley, I think that was, yeah. Which will come back next year hopefully. So that's really, really good, and that was 10p. The container was 15p, so 25p, and I also had like a massive salad from this as well yesterday. And then this bag of compost I'm going to be using today was reduced to £2.50 because it had a small split on the top of it, and £2.50 for 125 litres. That's like it is exactly 2p a litre, isn't it? So very dead cheap. And what made me think, well, there was choice of two bags. So this one was a slightly bigger bag, but this one also had the Which Best Buy, and it's very, very, very good compost. I've been reading up about it, so I'm happy to use that this year. Right, I'm going to get on with planting up a few things now. First of all, I'm going to fill up all the trays, and the other thing what I'm going to be doing today as well is planting up some sea kale. So that's another reason why I'm going to put a lot more sand into the sea kale mix, so sand to compost ratio. That's my sea kale there. And the seeds I'm going to be using for the microgreens, and some of them are going to get a bit bigger, maybe like the for like the winter purslane. Other ones like the rocket I'll be having as microgreens, and other rockets I might let grow a little bit bigger. I've got some basil seeds here left over from some of the micro propagators that I've had from Homebase before that I bought for 10p each. We've got coriander seeds there, might give them a bit of a go. Pak choy, Swiss chard, and I think that's enough at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. Let's fill the first tray here with compost, ready for the microgreens to start planting them up. And this compost is unbelievably good. I mean, it's got bits of twig in it, just there's no bits of plastic or anything that looks inorganic in it whatsoever. The little twigs and bits you get in it are very small. It's unbelievably good compost actually. I mean, it's like they've composted a forest floor or something. Just all you can see is loads of little bits of fibre, loads of organic material. I've not come across one little bit of suspect things. I mean, I got stuff from Homebase before, and the pound shop and 99p stores and QLM and things like that. I found loads of, sometimes absolutely tons of bits of plastic I don't even use. After taking it back to the shop was just, I don't want to put all that stuff in the garden really. But this is unbelievably good. Being cute. and it's like a Best Buy from Which as well, as you can see there. So recommend this one. £2.50 it cost me. If any split bags in B&Q, manager told me they generally do it for either £2 or £2.50. So if you can get a split bag of this for £2.50, that's unbelievably good value. Right, I'm going to continue with putting the compost into these, and I'll get back to you soon. Just about finished now filling up these trays. These for the microgreens. I'm not going to bother with sand on 2 of them, and 2 of them I have mixed a bit of sand with the actual compost. Put about 20% sand to 80% compost, just for more aeration and less chance of mould. I'm just going to see if that works. The thing about microgreens as well, why grow them? Basically, they're easy to grow. They're very high in nutrients, so very nutrient dense. You can grow them in winter indoors, and they're very quick to grow as well. So from planting to harvesting, you know, possibly a week or less sometimes, depending on what you're growing. You know, but you'd be looking at harvesting before 2 weeks with most of the crops that you'd be doing, which is really good. Right, when I got the sand, this is the rest of the sand that I've got. I've been mixing it into these little containers here with the compost. So it's just a little bucket, just makes it a bit easier, less messier, even though there's a fair bit of mess. And I also decided to take out the 2 that I just did compost only and mix in sand with them as well. So we've got, at the moment I've potted up 4 there for the large propagators, and I've got this one here which was the chicky container as well, potted up. Just need to add the seeds into all that, and I'm just going to, not for microgreens, but I'm just going to mix 1/2 sand with 1/2 compost for my sea kale. I'm just going to grow that over winter, see if it works. I've got so many seeds, I'm just going to practice putting some out, or experiment putting some out over winter, see what happens, and growing some indoors, just all over, and then starting some off in March as well next year, because sea kale is just absolutely brilliant, and I want to try and get as many as possible going and growing. Alright, I'll just get on with this and then start putting the seeds in. Right, with microgreens, you don't really need any nutrients, you don't need any compost or anything like that. All you need is, the only growing medium you need is basically so the roots can take hold and they don't flop over when they're growing. And if you're going to lay this with some sterile fabric, all you do is make certain you plant all your seeds approximately 1 centimetre away from the edge. This is for 2 reasons. One's so that the seed is in good contact with the growing medium, and 2, that it's getting more light as well once it requires it. With microgreens, the idea is you're harvesting them before they need the nutrients from the compost. But what I'm doing is growing some for microgreens, and if they do go over because of my work patterns or schedules where I'm not going to be home for a while, I want to make sure 1, they're getting enough moisture, and 2, they get enough nutrients as well. So if they do get a bit bigger, you know, you can still eat them. I mean, it's just like you know, grow rocket as microgreens, or grow them as the actual full-grown plant to eat as well. It's fine. But what I'm doing here is adding some water-retaining crystals, 1 to each cell. There's 2 in a couple, but I'm trying to push them like just for about 1/3 to half the way down into each cell, and this will just make certain that there's a little pocket of moisture in there, which is great if the plant actually needs a bit more moisture. Also, if I accidentally overwater, to draw excess water away from the actual soil and stop mould happening, it will go into the actual water retaining crystals. and also to combat obviously the mould, I've got the sand mixed in, about 10% of the actual compost is made up by play sand at the moment, and that'll also help the aeration of the soil, and it'll stop any mould as well when you're growing indoors, which is a big problem depending where you're living. But somewhere like England where you're going to have your central heating on and stuff like that, and you got, you know, damp winters, then yeah, it's going to be quite a problem. So I'm going to continue with this, and then we're going to transfer these cells into these trays. The base is got no holes in it. Then I got this here with the holes. You can see a little slight gap there, which means any excess moisture can go into there. If the plant does get bigger than a microgreen, the roots can access extra moisture as well down there. I've also potted up this as well with sand soil mix, and I'm going to be putting some of the water retaining crystals into them. Got a little pile of soil down there, which I'm going to fill up these little containers with. I'll put a little bit at the base and put some rocket and stuff like that in it. And I've also planted up my sea kale into here and put a covering of sand on it. A little bit of watering with water that's got no chlorine or anything in it, and that's it. Basically, I'm just going to leave that now to germinate. It shouldn't need watering for at least another month. Hopefully that'll grow some sea kale for me, and they are very tolerant of, you know, if you can treat them rough, basically you can forget to water them for a while and be alright. It's a massive mix of sand to soil percentage here. It's probably about 50 to 60% sand, because I don't like much nutrients, sea kale. And down here you just got a little bed of sand as well, so if the roots do get down, you can start going into there. And if it does get larger sea kale, I can just plant the whole thing into the soil, cut a little mark down here, and as the sea kale gets bigger, it'll just split this pot right open. Right, let's get on with sorting out the rest of these, and then planting up the seeds after that. The water retaining crystals into these with the nutrients in them as well, and the nutrients I'll be using, I'll show you that in a second. Let's put the last of these in. So the water retaining crystals with the nutrients. I'll show you the nutrients in this here, and the reason why I'm using this, as well as having the NPK, it's also got micronutrients in it as well, or trace minerals. There you go. So, and that was £1 at the pound stall, but I've also seen it at other garden centres as much as £8.99 for this one, possibly more, but you know, you can't argue with £1. That's for 1 litre, and all I use is half a capful for all those water retaining crystals. Left them overnight, and you've got loads of little trace minerals in there, which if they do get bigger than the microgreens, is going to add to the flavour. Right, you might want to experiment with this side of things. So what I've got here is an outdoor solar light, or the top of it, the actual solar panel with the little light at the bottom. To turn it into a red light, what I've done, I'll show you here, because I was using some thicker plastic from 3D glasses. It did work, got good results, but what I'm trying now is like slightly thinner plastic to get a bit more light in it, and to get either red or blue, which is the colours I'm after. Red at the moment, to try and get the fast growth of the microgreens, and then I might try a batch with blue, or blue on this side and red on this side. I haven't decided yet, but I will be mucking around with different lights. And what we're going to do is cut off or pull out some of the plastic here, and cover the light at the bottom of this. There you go, and it will give a nice red glow. So we're going to have daylight, or strong daylight, for about 2 to 4 hours a day, I could get more if I move it from the front of the house to the back of the house, the actual pots, or at the very minimum I'll get like 12 hours of light, 2 to 4 hours of strong light, and then this will take over, and that'll give me an extra 4 to 8 hours depending on if I can be bothered moving this around and charging it up with different light, or I could even leave it in a room with a light on as well, and then put it overnight for the rest of the winter as well. So it's always going to increase the amount of light, and the red light seems to give more foliage more quickly, and can give you different nutrients as well, and different flavours. So you want to experiment with red and blue lights and a mixture of both for the nutrient value and for the growth as well of it. And you can get different things as well. So we're not after root development, which I think is the blue light more, but that is going to affect the nutrients anyway. So you just experiment and see what you think, see what you like the flavours of, and etc. We'll be doing a follow-up video in a week to 2 weeks of how the microgreens have done. But I'm going to be planting basil into these pots here, pak choy here, rocket here, coriander here, purslane or winter purslane in this one, and Swiss chard in here. Just give it a little experiment. Some of these microgreens, like the work quite well, like the rocket I think, and the pak choys and the basil. The purslane I'm going to probably grow more as a winter salad and let it grow on, but I might try out a couple of these, see what it tastes like as a microgreen. But I think that will be more, yeah, just a winter salad crop. Right, I'm going to get on with this, and you know, some will be microgreens, some will grow into full plants, but it's all going to be pretty good food. Right, take care, and bye.